Okay, okay. Well. This your soul brother Talib, who you best know from Operation Exodus Mississippi with brother Angel Snup 7 Talik Ibn Rod, as he's also known. And I just want to say this, and although I have been in a sabbatical, you know, especially since our brother Talik Ibn Rod had to go through a medical surgery by having cancer taken out of him. Well, to be honest, and I'm always keep it honest when I'm talking in these videos, but number one, first of all, I am still in a sabbatical. But, you know, the crazy stuff I hear on social media, you know, in the backwoods, which I would call the Willie Lynch crab in a barrel mentality syndrome stuff I hear, even in the comment sections as well as on the videos by other people. So, of course, this time, uh, unfortunately, but in a way it was best. But, it ended up forcing my hand to make this video. Excuse me. Because, first of all, I've been trying to reach out to the black expat community, on their different pages, to ask them why they're not, pleading pleading for the cause of other black people that is still left behind here in America to deal with this racist and what comes along with being black in America, as you would say, or as a person of soul here in this country, which I preferably, would say in terms of our identity as a people. But I want to also say this too. I had commented under a brother's video, and this brother is based over in Africa. He's a brother of soul. This is a soul brother, person of soul, dark-skinned descendants of slave born in America. And he is, like I said, an expat, presently living in the country called Gambia, West Africa, okay? And and he makes videos, and it's called Black Acres of Gambia. I believe that's how the channel is termed. But anyway, the brother commented back to me. He replied back to my comment when I asked him why aren't blacks expats over in Africa or the continent, you know, pleading the cause of black Americans that's suffering over here in the United States, by pleading our cause with those governments in the adopted countries that they are in hopes that them governments may grant some of us asylum to be able to get over there, to get away from this hell that we find ourselves in, especially at this time right now, you know, during this critical time of pandemic and unrest here in America. And so anyway, make the long story short, he comments back. He replies back to my comment and tells me that, you know, we need to get away from the, rescue me mentality and just do for self, and told me if I really wanted to find my way out of America, if I really wanted to get out of America, I would just have to make a way for myself. And okay. And I said, okay, I understand that, but at the same time, that's an individualist way of, looking at the situation. And of course, because of that individual way of thinking and that divisive type of individualism is one reason why don't nobody take people so serious in this country, nor any place else in the world. And even the Africans, speaking of Africa, don't even take us serious because of this divisive mentality among us as so to speak, black Americans here in this country. And of course, this is a drawback from over 400 years of slavery, and this mentality, of course, is almost impossible to overcome. And I get that too. But at the same time, some of us got to have some type of kind of reasonable, sound understanding that, hey, look, we all in this together, and we made it over here to the continent at least. So let's help our let's help our soul brothers and sisters in America by carving out a better, easier way of opportunity for them to get over here than even it was for us. Just like other ethnicities have done for their people upon them arriving here in America, which is a fact, as somebody would say. And, because of that divisive mentality is why other groups of people outside of our group don't take us serious even when we scream that Black Lives Matter crap, and I'm gonna go into that a little bit too, before I close out in this video. But I wanna just say that I was reflecting on some other stuff yesterday, and it's sad. It's really sad where we actually are as a people. And this is also a thing where I could reference to something that Brother Prophet of Truth said on his YouTube channel video that I just heard recently, that someone sent me a link to, and I listen to the brother, and there's some things he say, of course, that I don't agree with. And there are definitely some things I do agree with what the brother be saying on his, channel videos. And one thing he definitely said was this, because with that brother who's based over there in Gambia, West Africa, as an expat told me, reminded me exactly of what Brother Prophet of Truth said about these Negroes in America and the ones that are from over here. No matter where they may find themselves at, even as expats in other parts of the earth. you know. But you know, he said this one thing that I could totally get with. A lot of these Negroes, or as he would say, niggas, in literal word term, might as well be exterminated because they don't give a damn about they self, each other, or nobody else, you know. And since we can't separate ourselves from this racist and come, to ourselves, come into ourselves to work out what we need to work out, to change our whole situation altogether and to make a better future for our generations to come behind us. You know, yeah, it is like we might as well just be exterminated. Some of us do need to be dead. And I'm not justifyingly saying this to, justify the corrupted police brutality killings that's going on against black people in this country. But, a lot of us, who do find ourselves in that type of situation also was actually leading lifestyles that open up the door for those type of situations to happen to us as well. And I was thinking, like, going back to what I heard a mother say a few years back, and this was around the time when when the Michael Brown killing in Ferguson and all that was still big in the news at the time, and this particular brother who don't many know about, like people knew about Michael Brown, was executedly killed in execution style fashion by police that had his knee on his back while the brother had his face on the ground with his hands tied behind him and handcuffs. The brother handcuffed already, and he got his face to the ground, and the police still unload a clip in the back of his head. Okay, rewind back now. The mother of this police shooting victim in this small town in New Jersey would come on TV saying that, and admitting, unlike many other mothers of police brutality victims, by saying that, my son did not deserve to get killed like this, but he was not no saint as well, because he did lead a life of crime. He was a criminal, and he was into that gang life. So, and see, many of our people don't. And that's just a rare case, because many of our people don't want to bear responsibilities for what led eventually to these unfortunate murders that happened to them, whether it was by the racists or at the hands of another, person or soul. And I mean, it's like, because we don't want to bear responsibility for our own actions that led to this, complicates even that so-called black on black lives terminology. Because like I said, I was gonna get into that while in this video. Once again, I see people around here using that term that's selling dope right here in this community where I'm at, that's committing crimes, that's in the gangs, and will kill each other in the drop of a dime. But soon as some racists blow one of us away or kill one of us, like in the situation with George Floyd. All of a sudden they out there talking about this Black Lives Matter. And then a lot of them are nothing but agitators anyway, because they really are not for black on Black Lives Matter. They just out there being agitators and doing the stuff that agitators do, and you got even those, like I heard someone's uh, yesterday say in a video on his channel that now you got people even out there that hate our guts that would be willing to walk beside us and march, chanting Black on Black Lives Matter. And I've seen that right where I'm at. Right where I presently reside at, in the community I reside in. So, like I said before, other people do not take Black Lives Matter serious, because black people don't really take Black Lives Matter serious. And it's like, until black people start respecting each other and showing love and compassion and concern and unity among each other, then won't no one take our cause serious. And like I asked this brother, as I asked a couple other people on a couple other black expat YouTube platforms, why aren't black expats overseas champion for Black Americans' cause? Even, like I said, it's going far as to lobbying those foreign governments in the adopted countries that they're living in to open up their doors politically by even giving emergency asylum to those of us that are being oppressed by this enemy that we've had to sit up under and deal with for over 400 years, You don't see no other country going out their way saying, well, we gonna open their doors for 44 plus million of us here in America. And I have to say that those that are black expats who come from America that are, descendants of a so-called American Negro slaves born in this nation, I must have to say that they bear a responsibility in that, because they got the opportunity where they could get close to those in government in those adopted countries and lobby and plead our cause. Some of them are in a position, even as far as them being citizens in some of them countries, where they could actually, and they could even use whatever influence they have over there to lobby for our cause. But they won't, because they got that, like I said, Willie Lynch, crab in a barrel bucket mentality, where I did what I had to do to get out of America, so you got to find your own way and do what you got to do. Just like that old saying, I got mine, get yours type of mentality. It's basically the same thing in concept terms, So, this now makes me take even another different look at this point at the black expat community outside the United States. And I'm not, I have a lot of respect for the black expat community. Like brothers like Negrito Grande, American brother that's based down there in Mexico, and other brothers from America and sisters from America who are residing overseas, you know. I have quite respect for them because I have respect for the fact that they had the courage to get up out of America and go carve out another life somewhere else for themselves where they could be free from this oppression over here that they've always known all their lives as a people coming from this country, you know? And I respect that. And I won't criticize that one bit, but at the same time, though, I will, be critical of them not standing up and pleading for other black people that got to still stay stuck over here or that remain stuck over here, putting up with this racist crap and all this systemic racism and brutality that we find ourselves waking up facing every day as a people. You know, for this individual to say that we got to get out of that rescue me mentality shows me where his mind was all the time, even before he left America, probably, and where his mind is now over in Africa. This is why we have that situation with Liberia that's, still not been resolved, even after dozens of years of civil war over there, because descendants of slaves called Amero-Liberians like Charles Taylor, who are descendants of slaves from America who went over there to, resettle and establish the Republic of Liberia. Well, because of that, you made it hell over there for the indigenous Liberians with that type of mentality, this is why I understand even more when I think about what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said when he once said that no nation would accept us in the condition that we are in. And I clearly understand that message by Elijah Muhammad the more and the more I think about it. And if I was a president of another country, I wouldn't accept 44 million Negroes under the frame of mind and state that our people are in as far as the slave mentality go, because we are a piece of work to deal with, and when we feel like we can't even come together, like this individual who replied back to my comment, without feeling like we gonna be a burden to each other, that's really a problem. That is really definitely a problem. And when I commented back to what he said in his reply, I told him, hey, okay, I could accept that. No disrespect intended, I could accept that. But at the same time, if I am fortunate to ever make it out of America, to be able to go abroad, and I cross paths with other black Americans, I simply would not deal with them. And that's what I told him in my reply to his comment, and that's what I mean. And I don't really deal with a whole lot of other black Americans now, which is one reason I left activism alone, bars, and that so-called pro-black conscious stuff. And then also why I recently cut social media activism loose, because we are a piece of work to deal with. When you want to talk about trying to liberate us, to bring us together on a common accord, to do something about our situation, and stuff like that. And then for this individual to say do for self, first of all, what do you mean do for self? Because that's that same concept that come from religion, like with the Nation of Islam that was started also under Elijah Muhammad. You know, when you want to talk about do for self, what that mean? Do for self by profiting off of other people while the rest of the organization is poor and destitute, but you the only one living in a mansion, you know, able to eat good, wine and dine, where you and your family ain't got nothing to want for? That's what you call doing for self? Well, I say that's called being selfish, which it is, you know? And I mean, like I said, this situation just, made me really take another look at the black expat community. Because how many other brothers and sisters like him who have, found the way out of America, as he say, think, you know? And that really just made me take a whole nother different look at the black expat community. And I must say this too. Like I said, I have a whole lot of respect because of their courage. Because the average Negro won't even attempt to lead this country unless they are in a situation where they end up joining the military or something, going over to serve this country in the military, or they got money to where they could be able to afford to travel outside the country, in fewer cases. But like I said, most of the average so-called American black people would not even attempt to even leave out the country. Some have not even attempted to even cross the border over into Canada or even into Mexico. I mean, and I mean it's like we because we've been so sensitized to America for hundreds of years, all our lives, that this is all we know. So, being the unfortunate like domesticated animals that we are, since we really wasn't freed, but we were just thrown off the plantations, you know, and just left on our own, well, we're still actually domesticated animals. Like a domesticated animal that's, cut loose from the zoo to fend for themselves. We're just actually like that, domesticated animals and from a zoo, and that's just the way our mentality is. And this is one reason why we're so reactionary and full of emotion when it even comes to, us not even being able to come to a common understanding of where we are at and where we need to go as a people to change our condition, from what it is for once and for all. But like I said before, we have this situation going on with us where we just do not care, you know, for the next fellow dark-skinned person or soul, and that really kind of, I'm gonna have to be honest, it kind of really got to me sentimentally a little bit because, I mean, you made it across the ocean 3,000, 4,000 miles, however far Africa is from here, or where even some of you may be at, whether you in Asia or other parts of the world, far away from America, and you're not even looking back, thinking about your fellow brothers and sisters that's still over here suffering because you choose to be selfish. Like the brother said, because you want to do for self or you want to be about self and don't have no care in the world for nobody else. Not even to think that, you do got family members that's still over here in America that got to deal with this racism too. And whatever that comes along with that, you see. So just like the same thing he told me, I assume now he'll probably tell one of his black biological relatives that's still in this country, you know? And I mean, it's just, it really, it, I would have to say that like someone said, it really grinds my gears when I hear pathetic stuff like that, because we could do better than this if we just come together on a common basis, just like we tried to get brothers and sisters on our platform to see the reality of this Mississippi campaign to where we wouldn't even have to resort to leaving the country, where we could start a safe haven for ourselves right within these borders of America, to surround ourselves with protection from the races throughout the rest of America, but yet that ideal call fell on many deaf ears on social media, and I mean, it's like, it's crazy. And, I know some of you may even call me a quitter or a person that gave up on the struggle of our people. But you know what? Let me say this here, because I was also reflecting on this point I'm about to make too yesterday. Over the weekend, I was having a conversation with somebody, when I was out and about in the public, and he was referencing some stuff to me about our brother Stokely Carmichael, aka the late Honorable Kwame Ture, and he was telling me, like, before brother Ture died, he had ended up obtaining the FBI files that were out on him from COINTELPRO through the Freedom of Information Act. And he was going down through there how the brother was actually in a actual personal conversation telling him that he did not believe what type of sophisticated enemy he was really up against. He already knew that this enemy was sophisticated, but not to the extent from what he saw in the paperwork files that, the federal government had on him. And my point with that is this, is that I will say, with me being in the struggle, even in activism as I have been for decades throughout most of my life, even when I was in that so-called pro-black conscious stuff over the years, and to no avail, nothing came of it far as substance, in terms far as changing the condition of 44 plus million dark-skinned descendants of slaves born here in America. But when I look at that and I say, well, damn, I wasted my time when I could have been doing other different stuff beneficially with my own life, and I wasted my time with this crap, and then it made me in turn think about these black political prisoners, even some like Mumia Abu Jamal, who still languishes in these, racist caste penal colonies across the country called mass incarceration, just rotting in the way their lives in the cell, all because they wanted to see true freedom, justice, and equality for their people, just to be forgotten about, you know, and and when the brother was referencing to me about Stokely Carmichael's situation in that manner as well, I thought about it and I said, at the end of the day, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? Even for some of those who, one will even put his life and freedom on the line just to try to get liberation for, just to turn around and double cross ones, like I said, who are trying to even help them be free, And this takes me back even to when Harriet Tubman had to even pull guns on a few of some slaves, who was trying to undermine her movement just because she was trying to help free them by risking her own freedom to free them, and I mean, it's like at the end of the day, maybe, in fact, we might as well, like Prophet Truth said, be exterminated, and like someone else said, this whole entire human population on this planet Earth even might as well be exterminated just for a new replenishing to come about, to bring other life forms in this earth that would bring this planet back into the right balance or order that it's supposed to be in, because with the way humanity is, even with in terms of relations of what I'm talking about in this video, it's this whole situation universally right now is just out of order. And but mainly getting back to the primary concern of us as dark-skinned descendants of slaves born here in America, yes, we definitely don't have no unity at all. It's like any unity that we may have had in the most recent past, that is even completely went out the window. When I really think about this whole, situation that's going on, like I just recently heard our good brother Angel Snuff Snuff 7, who made a video recently, and he was like pointing out, like basically, like our people then got out there and did all this protesting since George Floyd, and these crackers still won't stop killing us, you see. And of course, even now, like with that brother that just got shot 7 times in the back by another racist in Kenosha, Wisconsin, you see. So that's just an indicator that until we decide to put our own foot down and take our own liberation instead of waiting for somebody to give it to us. We gonna just keep getting these same results because the reactionary approach that we got as far as responding to our situation as a people just simply is proving not to work. Getting out there, marching, protesting, and stuff. Even especially peaceful protests, as they say, just ain't worked. Like I told someone the other day, that's why Martin Luther King Jr. dead. you know, if peaceful protests would have worked, then him and brothers like Medgar Evers would still be alive. You know. So my thing is this. I really have to. I really have to say that at the end of the day, we are we at a point right now that hey, a lot of us is gonna probably die off, whether it's in a mass grave, concentration camp, or whichever way this go. We all gonna probably die. A lot of us gonna probably have to go. I mean, even through these racists just punitively killing us like they is. And I just want to for those of you, and I am a registered voter, by the way, but still the reality of this situation is that even with if Joe Biden gets in there, it ain't gonna stop these racists from killing us. It ain't gonna stop these Peckerwoods from killing us. I mean, I'm just gonna make that clear. It's not gonna stop them from killing us. We got to put our feet down to take our liberation and make them respect us. Then that's when that crap will stop. If we really want to see a real future for ourselves as a people here in this country, And but like I said, going back to the expat situation, what that brother said in that reply to my comment under one of his videos really made me take another look at the black expat community because, they are in another country far away somewhere, living their own lives, experiencing what life is in another nation. And of course, they don't have to worry about what comes along, fortunately, with what it is to be, as they say, black in America. But, at the same time, they don't really give a damn about what happened to us here in America. The ones of us as dark-skinned descendants of slaves born here in America that is still here in America, putting up with this racism. They don't care. And that comment by that brother is a clear indicator of that. And I just and I may even continue watching his videos because him and his family do have interesting videos that they make where they're based at in Gambia. But so I'm not gonna get emotional because me and them had a disagreement. In the back and forth comments we made to each other. But I must say that he taught me a quick lesson that the black expat community is just as divided as even if they were still here in America. among the rest of us as a people, you see. So, like I said, that even reminded me of why Liberia is in the situation it's in. Because you had a bunch of slaves who was, you know, given the opportunity by, you know, our 400-year oppressor who was willing to send a few of us back over to Africa, you know, to have us resettled in Liberia. And of course, from there, Liberia was never the same, especially for the indigenous Liberians, because of the slave mentality of the American Negro wretchedness that our ancestors took over there to Liberia, which is why you had 14 years of civil war under the control of the descendants of so-called American Negro slaves that are known as Americal Liberians. So, I mean, like I said before, you know, with that said, I mean, we have a situation that, definitely is internal, and we may not never make it up out this situation as far as our bondage. I mean, we tried all this other stuff, you know, of course, in terms of our struggle, of our plight, that we could make sense of and finding some hope to come up out of this situation as far as our sojourn here in America. But evidently it ain't worked. And that's one reason why me and brother Tali Gibbon Rod proposed the Operation Exodus Mississippi campaign ideal to us as a people on social media and in general in the first place. And like I said, fell on many deaf ears, and it's still falling on deaf ears. And apparently people don't take true liberation seriously. And of course, because of that is why our 400-year-old oppressor don't take us seriously, even when we go to screaming that Black Lives Matter stuff, you know. And I really, I really hate to say that, you know, we are in a situation right now that, because if Donald Trump get reelected again, I don't really want too much talk about the politics things, but the reality is if he get reelected again, and we are in for a rude awakening as we can see this situation unfolding now like it is, with the fact that now you're dealing with more of these white right-wing white nationalists, white supremacists that's becoming more emboldened in their actions, even when they confronting Black Lives Matter protesters, and stuff like that. And then, you got these brothers who just established a black militia, at the behest of our soul brother Jam Master Jay, you know, Jam Master. I mean, all this is an indication that this could lead to an actual race war. Something that for many years, both black and white people in this country thought for some reason or another that could be avoided. But this can't be avoided because there's too many old wounds that has not been addressed concerning racial relations throughout the history of America. And of course, even with the reparations thing too as well, for our hard labor that built this country, which we still ain't benefited from as a people ourselves. And I mean, so I mean, you have a lot of unsettled scores, and this thing called race war, honestly, and like I heard someone say in a video I saw yesterday, that in fact, people are just not prepared for. We just ain't prepared for something like that. We, you know, and this government that we're under, this current administration, has given these white supremacists the okay, that it's okay to actually kill black people. It's okay for the police just to impunitively keep killing black people. It's okay. We want these niggas dead anyway, So this is what we up against. And while all this is going on, like I said before, we at it killing each other and wasting bullets on each other when we should be unloading clips off into the right people. We wastingly unloading clips off into each other. And I mean, it's like, man, it really just, it don't make no sense. So, like I said, when I look at all this on the whole broad scale, I say to myself, is it worth me even being a part of this, what they call struggle? And I have reasons for that. And I know some people, even in the comment section, or that's listening to this video may think, oh, look at this weak ass nigga. Oh, you giving up. Well, hey, I'ma say it like this. You have your opinion, I have mine, and you could call it what you want to, but the actual fact of the matter is, if you gonna call it, call the whole aces of spade like it is then. Because those same freedom fighters that you, especially in the pro-black conscious, still considered leaders and giants of our time, you might as well consider them quitters. Especially those who ended up in prison for long stretches of years and decades. Like I said before, because they wanted to see real justice and equality for our people. For them to have our people turn their backs on them and forget about them. Like I remember reading on the front of this local newspaper here in Nebraska, where a Black Panther that's locally incarcerated here in a state prison said that he wished he wouldn't have never got involved with the Black Panther Party. And who could blame him and others like him? Because the same people, the very people who people like him was risking their lives and freedom over, said to hell with them. and show clearly that they didn't give a damn about them. You know, if it wasn't for world or media pressure, we wouldn't even know that Mumia Abu-Jamal was still languishing in prison in Pennsylvania. You know what I'm saying? He'll probably even be on death row and would have probably got executed. You know? And then the fact that they commuted his sentence from death row to life, well, he should be out of prison, obviously. Because if they commuted his sentence from death row over this killing of a Philadelphia white police officer back in the early 1980s, then that means they might as well just totally exonerate him, period, and overturn that whole entire case and conviction against him. But of course, they want him to languish off in prison and die, just like he is. You know? And I'm pretty sure at times, even though he's had worldwide support, but initially, because he was standing up for our people, primarily, he probably saying, was it worth my time even getting out there for them niggas? You know, and we could even contribute this to other black freedom fighters from the 60s, 70s, and even 80s. You know, it's just real. You know, so if you want to call somebody giving up on the struggle weak or whatever, you might as well look at them in the same frame of mind. You know, because I dedicated years in the pro-black movement just to find out I was being used by those that I thought was brothers, or that it was a real brotherhood that I was a part of, just to find out I was being used, you know? So, I mean, at the end of the day, you just wonder, was it really worth it? I mean, really, was it worth it? But, you know, I'll say this much. You know, no matter where I am, on the day I close my eyes for the last time, at least I would know that I would have been an individual who did not just stand, believe in anything just to fall for anything, and that I woke up and came out of that religious construct frame of mentality, which I'm finally glad I was self-emancipated from, and hopefully I could physically emancipate myself from where I find myself at. Like that brother said to me, by making my way out of America eventually one day. If I don't die while trying, Because, is it worth my time dealing with these Negroes? Putting up with they crap? And like I said, I know I may be criticized for saying this, but I'm going to stand on what I stand on, regardless of even what other people say and think. I respect their opinions, and I hopefully assume that they will respect mine. But like I said before, I stand on what I stand on, because I see we ain't getting nowhere as a people, especially with all this craziness going on. Our children dying in the streets every day. You know, our communities is desecrated. You know, there's a bunch of us that's in the mass incarceration system. So many of our families is broken up. We might as well just consider ourselves an exterminated people after all while going through this. I mean, it's just crazy. But with that said, as someone would say, in the words of our great late soul brother Don Cornelius, love, peace, and soul.